think it's a bad performance from Chelsea in any perspective at all. I thought Chelsea played OK today, but unfortunately Manchester City have scored more goals than anyone else in the league. They've conceded fewer goals than anyone else in the league, and that's why they're top of the league.
And they're a great team. Possession, actually, wise, we were talking about this before the game. They're so famous, so good at it. But in actual fact, the second half, we were much better. I think we had probably just a bit more of the play in the second half. In the end, we didn't create a huge amount, but Romelu had one chance in the second half. And I would say it was quite an even game in that second half. And considering I think we were quite far behind, I'm absolutely behind what Jason was saying there, what you were saying yourself, Abby. You know, that first half we were kind of well beaten, even though, you know, we hadn't fallen behind. But they're a right good team. We probably had to just take a few more chances, but you sometimes open the game up and you get torn to shreds by them. I'm actually not as downcast as a lot of fans will feel just now. We've just played a great team away from home, and by the second half we're thinking, actually a wee bit disappointed we didn't have a wee bit more of a go. I think when we made the substitutions look a bit better as well. Lively, that looked as well. I think a lot of people might maybe ask the question, could we have made them a wee bit earlier? And I think that's a fairly reasonable question. But in the end, it's that guy again, isn't it? He's not bad, is he, that boy De Bruyne?
Yeah, he's not bad, is he? He's not bad. I think you've already, you know, hit the nail on the head, Abby. He's a magic man, and he's produced a moment of magic. It's a great goal from Kevin De Bruyne, and that ultimately is the difference on paper. Manchester City will probably feel they should have been maybe one up in the first half, or should have created a few more chances. But like Pat said, second half I thought Chelsea good showing, and could quite feasibly have come away with a point today, or maybe even something more. That's football, isn't it? It's those moments of magic that Kevin De Bruyne has produced to make the difference. Yeah,
he's one of those players that can just create something from nothing. Like he gets the ball and it's normally in the back of the net, or or he's creating a chance for somebody else. He's just a special player. But defensively, I thought mostly we were great today, especially because you've got people like Malang Sarr kind of stepping in as well. He's not, only been playing games a bit more recently, but he was brilliant. I thought Kerr was great today as well. Remember, there was obviously that Kevin De Bruyne free kick in the first half, and I was like, oh, here we go. we know where this is going. But actually, Kerr just set up the wall perfectly, and it wasn't a stress in the end. So there are a lot of positives to come from it. But yeah, a moment like that, it's just one of those, isn't it?
Obviously, the manager, being the way that he is, he'll be bitterly disappointed. We saw him very animated on the sideline in the first half. Like you said, though, Pat, I think there'll be a lot of positives it will take from the second half. Result, not so much, and it might be one of those where you can't quite see the positives until Monday morning. But at the moment, like you said, I think rightly so, Chelsea fans will be feeling quite balanced and fairly upbeat despite a defeat.
I mean, in the end, I think a lot of us feel, again, like Jason summed up, saying that the chances of us actually winning the league were limited anyway, with how well that they've coped with this December-January period. And fair well done to them, But I'm looking at when it changed today. And it kind of oddly changed. I wanted the changes to be made. And I'm sure you felt the same. I thought a lot of Chelsea fans felt the same. And we looked lively. We pushed higher up the field. It looked much more like us. And then we lose a goal. 2 or 3 minutes. Is it 2 or 3 minutes later? It's not more long after that. I've not checked the actual times yet, but after those 2 substitutions, which we all wanted, and it's quite common that happens in the game, because we're pushed a little bit further forward, and it just leaves a little gap. And it was that little gap that the intelligence of De Bruyne, and by the way, how tiny a gap was it? And it was nothing, and he still just calmly pulled it round the corner. It's a great goal, but it's hard to be too gutted about a piece of absolute genius knocking you out. Because I said it before the game, I think we all probably felt a point would have been great. We were unlucky not to get one.
Completely great. Our knee-jerk reaction actually is very much on that thought. Kevin De Bruyne magic. When you've got a player of that ability that can produce those moments of brilliance. I mean, Liv, obviously, formerly on this show, brilliant presenter. KDB, that is unbelievable. Can't say I don't deserve it. It's a very fair point, Kevin De Bruyne has scored against Chelsea more times than any other team for Manchester City. Cheers, Kev. Cheers.
Yeah, all right. Don't worry, I'm salt in the wounds.
Yeah. He's now scored 5 goals against his former club Chelsea in the Premier League, the most by a player against the Blues after having previously played for them in the competition. Some stat that. He's a special player. He's a special player. This was nice, though. I enjoyed this, actually, from Ahmad. Chelsea's system has been working like a charm, preventing City from creating genuinely good, open play chances without the help of the odd defensive error. But it pays to have a player as brilliant as Kevin De Bruyne, doesn't it? On that, Abby, because, again, We've said this before. We've seen Chelsea go to the Etihad in previous years. I remember under Antonio Conte not starting to centre forward and just sort of suffocating the game and getting a good result there from what I remember as well. We've gone there in the past. We've been very open and expansive, and I think we got beat 6 there a couple of years ago.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
There have been a number of ways. There are different ways to approach it. We mentioned the Leicester City game where they went to the Etihad on Boxing Day and got beaten 6-3. You have to go with something different, and that's not being sort of pessimistic or not being anything. You have to be something different, like teams do when they come to Stamford Bridge. Manchester United did it, played 11 men behind the ball, counter-attack, get one moment of luck from the Jorginho thing and then get a point from it. You have to be different. I thought the way that Chelsea set up today might not be everyone's idea of brilliant, but it worked to a dream because up until that moment of brilliance, we restricted them to very, very little.
Yeah, like you say, you have to be different, and you have to be realistic. You know, you just can't give City too much time and space because otherwise you will get battered. You know, so the fact that we kept them quiet for as long as we did shows how well our backline did. So yeah, credit to them today.
Absolutely right. This as well. Get some more tweets in because the other thing to remember is Chelsea missing Reece James and Ben Chilwell today. Like, it's a great point, isn't it, Pat? Because we know how important Reece and Chile are to the way that we set up and the way that we play. But to go with a different game plan when you're missing 2 of your most potent attacking outlets is always going to be difficult.
It doesn't make it easy for us, absolutely. But, to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. There's lots of people who have done... is that JT?
Yeah, JT. He's over playing golf in America at the moment. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's playing Sawgrass at TPC Sawgrass. So he's having a lovely time over there. He is, and but obviously always making time.
He's got his priorities absolutely right there.
Spot on.
Now, going back to what some of the people were saying there, the system that we did and we worked in today. It worked very, very well. I was really proud of the lads. We just wasn't enough of a cutting edge. And I do feel that we were much, much better in the second half. Thomas will look back on it, he'll think about it, he'll consider it, could have done anything different. Yeah, but, I think he's made as much use of all what he had available to him. And maybe, in hindsight, you think, could we have got Kai on there? Would that have made a difference? But there were limited opportunities. I think we had 4 shots on goal. Maybe 4, but it's not a lot. So you've got to take these chances when they come in. We all said that beforehand, didn't we? You've got to take these chances when they come. When we're walking away, I'm a little bit gutted by it, but I'm also looking at some of the good things. You mentioned Sarr, absolutely fantastic. Tony Rudiger again, absolutely brilliant. The other comment was made there in the last message, we didn't make many mistakes. Remember we talked about concentration before the game? Very few mistakes. There was one mistake by Kovac earlier on, wasn't there? He caught the ball and they nearly scored. Other than that, how many people out of possession, how many people on the wrong side, how many people making wrong decisions defensively. I'm talking quite specifically defensively here. I thought the defence can walk away today and think, actually, we did a good job here.
I completely agree. Completely. That's why I think it's quite a positive position to be in, Abby. And granted, you're never fully happy coming away from a defeat because why would you be? You're a Chelsea fan. You don't get used to losing. This doesn't happen regularly. But there's a lot of positives to take from it. We've got a lot of football still to play. We're still in 5 competitions, 4 or 5 competitions still. So there's plenty of football still to play this season. The impressive performance again from Malang Sarr, another step sort of to, like Trevor Chalobah did at the start of the season. Now you can very much put him in the conversation to when even everyone's fully fit, you can make a justified conversation to say he should be starting because of the way he's been playing. Kepa I thought was brilliant as well today. Yeah,
Sarr made some brilliant calls there, I thought, and really got stuck in and just looks really comfortable at this level now, which is great. I mean, we all believe in Kepa, and he did a great job again today. So there's a lot of positives to take away from today. But because we're Chelsea fans, we always want the absolute best, and we get used to winning. But like you say, there's so many competitions that we're still in and could still win. So it's not all bad.
Absolutely, we're spoiled, aren't we? But there's a lot of positives to take from today. This as well, Malang Sarr is going to be frightening to play against pretty soon. Absolutely right, I completely agree. He's got a little bit of that Tony Rudiger edge about him, hasn't he? Where he's not afraid to put a foot in and make a tough tackle. Appreciation to it for Malang Sarr though, what a baller. And also, I think we speak about this quite a lot, but when you are playing alongside the best centre-halves in the league in Thiago Silva and Tony Rudiger on a day-to-day basis, you're going to improve. You're going to learn so much, aren't you, Pat? It's
amazing how quickly they have come forward. I mean, Chalobah, you mentioned, it's been an incredible jump forward for him. One game where he had a couple of mistakes, now he's got injured, etc. But Sarr, the jump is incredible. It's fabulous. From the first time watching him right at the start of the season, I think, well, you're a wee distance away there, but you never know. This is gigantic. You're playing against some of the best players in the world there. You're looking all right. You're looking quite cool. And as you say, he's learning off very good people. And the other big thing is, through the club, we generally tend to play the same way. So whatever you're doing, everybody knows. You step in and you step into a formation and a formula. And that will definitely help you. But if you're standing beside these guys, two things. One thing, yeah, you're going to learn off them, right? We all know that. That's great. See, the other thing, you really want to impress them. You really want to go, am I all right? Am I all right? You know, there is a real... It seems an odd thing. It's something you don't talk about much, but I mean, you've played in games and you think, I'm playing with one of the best players in the world here. I want him to know I'm a player, or a baller, as we say. And that is something that actually happens to players, and I can see that happening to Sarr right now.
I was going to say that because you mentioned that Lewis Hall obviously played centre-half last week. Xavier Simons has done that in youth team football. He played right wing-back for Chelsea against Brentford in the Carabao Cup. Xavier Mbayamba as well has been playing really well in the PL2 games. Alfie Gilchrist as well. Because you play the same way going through the system, Chelsea are developing footballers from centre-halves. You know, they're all incredibly talented on the ball, very comfortable bringing the ball out. Almost, and I hesitate to use this, but almost sort of a young Thiago Silva-esque is the way they try and develop now, in players that are so comfortable on the ball, can play either side, read the game exceptionally well. And if you are a young Thiago Silva or want to be that, the two people you've got to look up to are Thiago Silva, and also there's a certain John Terry that's wandering around Cobham at the moment as well. So, like Pat said, you want to impress them on a daily basis, but we're developing more and more and more to play into the system that we're playing in the first team.
Yeah, we seem to be really good at doing that. It's like a Chelsea speciality, isn't it? But what amazing people to learn from. You are going to become the absolute best. And you mentioned like Lewis Hall. He took his chance, didn't he? You know, and played incredibly well. And there's so many other players coming through as well. So yeah, it's an exciting time for Chelsea for sure.
Absolutely right. And obviously next couple of weeks, Pat, you know, we've got more difficult games coming up. We've got Spurs next Sunday. We've got Brighton away in the league before then. It's a busy period, January, before we get into the FA Cup, Club World Cup, Carabao Cup final in February. So it's one of those now where you can't be too downcast or too sort of disheartened about today. You've got to lick your wounds and get on with it.
Look, we had some difficult games there, but this one was always going to be the most difficult game we had in all time. I look around at the squad and who's coming back and who's going to be available after what was a really, really tough time. You're losing a lot of players. You can see Kai coming back, Werner's come back, Romelo's back. And they're all getting just that bit fitter all the time. When we had a wee look at the bench there, the options we had were actually quite fantastic. Now, it didn't work on the day, and it's Man City away from home, but we've got more options now than we've had for quite some time. And have a little look at the other teams around us. Have a look at Liverpool. They're struggling to put an attacker together just now. This is a good time for us. This is a positive. This is a time really to stride on. So, yeah, there's big games ahead. But let's be fair, we're not worrying about Spurs, are we?
No. No, not after the last two games we played them. Absolutely not. Thomas Tuchel just said in his post-match that the performance was okay and Chelsea deserved a point. I think most Chelsea fans would go along with that. I think, you know, like we keep saying, the Kevin De Bruyne magic decides the game. But I think if we'd have all come away from a point with that, I don't think there'd be too many people that'd be sort of, you know, feel it's an unjust result. And it's probably a fair assessment. Okay for Thomas Tuchel is obviously not what he accepts, but as Chelsea fans, I think it wasn't too bad today. I felt there's a lot of positives to come from it.
I love that he's always so honest in his assessments. I think, you know, the fans would totally agree with that. You know, there were some moments, but overall we were okay, you know, because our standards are so high. It's disappointing not to come away with a point, but as you say, loads of positives to take away from it. And Thomas Tuchel will want to win the next few matches, you know. He wants to win everything. His mentality is incredible. And he'll be drilling that squad and we'll move on in no time.
Absolutely right. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne was the difference today. Pat, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, okay? Because obviously, you know, you were a very creative player in your time as well. So these numbers will be not foreign to you, but they certainly will be to a lot of people. Because the touches things interested me, right? The 60 touches, because 60 touches of the ball doesn't sound like a lot across 90 minutes. But then when you're looking at the most crosses, most dribbles attempted, most dribbles completed, 2 chances created, and obviously a goal, he's so clinical within those 60 touches. that tells you the difference, doesn't it?
The important thing is it's the two bottom ones that are the most important ones. You know, it's the goals and it's the creation. They're the hardest things to do in football, and he's the top in both of them. All the other stuff, you know, number of touches, etc., that's quite good. You need to then break that down to where are the touches. I mean, if they're in deep midfield, so what, kind of thing. But they're generally not with him. You know, in the final third, in dangerous places, and he's driving people forward and looking for things. But I'm always looking at creativity for him. And, you know, in this league, you're looking at the big names. You know, if you're Mo Salah for Liverpool, you're going to have a big effect in the game. You know, if you're somebody you spent a huge amount of money on. And De Bruyne is the big man. He is, for all the great names they've got there, and you might talk Grealish costing 100 million, etc., it's De Bruyne. He is the main man, and he's coming up with the goods. And that's something that any club would be jealous of. And the other thing is, you can't help but like him. You know, there's some that you get a wee bit fed up with, but you can't help but like him. Not because he used to be a Blue, although that helps, but it's just the honesty of the player. The fact that he works hard, the fact that he does the right things. He works his socks off as well. So, well done, Kevin. You kind of deserve to be applauded because you're the way players should be. You're exactly what... If you're talking about looking at centre-backs and who you should try and be like, and that's fine. See if you're a young player coming through, Kevin De Bruyne, have a look at him.
Absolutely right. And, I mean, that's 12 on the bounce they've won now, Abby. They are very good. They're formidably good, and you know it's highly likely now that they'll go on to win the Premier League, or you know they'll be very disappointed if they don't from the position they're in at the moment. But you look at the other competitions that they've still got to run in, the competitions that Chelsea have still got to play in, and we could come up against them again. So I suppose that is the one thing that you're always learning from. But the next time you look at it, you can't pay them any more attention. You can't do anything majorly different because moments of brilliance from players like that just happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and we can beat City, as we know. You know, Champions League final, we beat them a couple of times last season. We're so closely matched because you know we are the best teams in the league. So yeah, we are going to keep coming up against each other in other competitions as well. But you always learn more and more and more from playing them. And I'm sure Thomas Tuchel's already got so much he wants to take away from that game.
I would absolutely. Now that you've asked that question, I think that's brilliant. That might be the most important thing that's happened today. I think our players walk off after that second half and think, right, we can do them. We actually can do this. I think after the first game of the season, we seemed a distance behind. We really did seem... They're both 1-0s. This is a different 1-0. This is a 1-0 where, right, OK, let's bring them on next time. And we have, A, learned, B, by the second half, we're standing toe-to-toe. Now, again, I've not seen all the figures, but it felt to me that not only did we have more possession, than we did in the first half. We had more possession than them in the second half. Nobody does that to Manchester City there. So that's probably the biggest thing I'm going to walk away with this, that we might meet them in other competition and we are not going to walk in sitting back fearful thinking, oh, we're going to get taken apart again. We're going to walk out thinking, actually, this is doable.
I completely agree. Lots of impressive performances from the Chelsea camp today. Here is one of those impressive performances, Malang Sarr with Matt Davies-Adams.
Malang, tough game today. It was pretty close for most of it, but just that one moment of quality from De Bruyne, wasn't it?
Yeah, really, really frustrating because we came in with a plan. I think we've done pretty well. Defensively, we were strong. We didn't offer much opportunity to them. That was the plan, and I can feel that they struggle a lot to find a solution, and that was the main thing for us. And obviously, we had the chances to score, and that's why today I'm really frustrated and disappointed for the result.
And that's the thing when you come up against world-class players, isn't it? They're capable of a moment of brilliance like we saw, and it needed that to score against us today.
Yeah. But in this type of game, that's our role as well, to slow them down and to find a solution to just avoid this type of things. Obviously, that's a great shot. That's a great player. But I think we can do more. And by analysing the game, we will find a solution to get better, like we always do. Sorry.
Was it always the plan to try and contain them in the first half and then be a bit more attacking after half time?
Yeah, definitely was the plan. I think we've done pretty well. We had a few chances to score, and yeah, at the end of the day, we're going home frustrated because I think we could have went on with a point or with 3 points because we had the chances to score in the first half, in the second as well. So yeah, we keep on working. Nothing is finished, just keep the head up and work out, and just to try to improve each and every game to get better and better, and to fight like we fought today.
Slightly different position back to your normal position today, really, from Spurs. I guess you're just happy to play anywhere to help the team.
Yeah. I try to be the best as I can to help the squad and to feel comfortable. And yeah, if I need to play on the side, I play on the side. If I need to play as a free in the free at the back, I play. No matter what, I'm just ready, and hopefully I will help the team to achieve our goals and to be good on the pitch, to perform.
You've become an important part of the squad and of the team in recent weeks. Do you feel like a confident, sort of proper Chelsea player?
Yeah. I can feel it. It's good to feel it, but I cannot really think about it at the moment, because we need to perform, we need to be good, and that's a high level team. So I just need to bring the level and just play just play hard and be the best as I can, like I said. So yeah, it's good. I'm really happy to get the confidence and everything. But for me, the best is be on the pitch, help the team, and win games.
Finally, it's obviously a big gap between City and us now in terms of the Premier League, but there's so much to play for this season.
Definitely. There's lots of game to play, lots of points as well. So I'm not like worried about it, because it's a long way to go, really long way to go, and there's lots of points. I trust my teammate, I trust my team, and I think we can do it.
Thanks, Milan.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Really impressive him. Really impressive, isn't he, Pat? Not only his performance, but the way he speaks as well. I suppose manager's dream, really. Everything he's saying is probably replicated by what they're saying in the dressing room.
Do you know, some people say things like, "Oh, I think we can do it," and you go, "Yeah, sure." You actually believe him, don't you? You think, yeah, he believes it. There's no doubt about that, which is a good thing. But he's positive. He's fantastic, and I don't think you can be any other way. If you're going to get a game for Chelsea these days, you've got to absolutely believe in yourself and the group that you're playing in. And I think he's loving every second of this. And I think there were a lot of moments today where, some of them were last-ditch attempts, but he made some great decisions, great tackles, that had he missed them, trouble, as in penalties or they're through or whatever. I think he had a really superb game today, and arguably his best game in a Chelsea shirt.
What I like about him as well, Abby, is the fact that he's come into the side and there's, I suppose, a lower end of expectation, mainly because Antonio Rudiger and Thiago Silva are playing alongside him, so people don't expect him to reach those levels straight away. He was pretty much an ever-present for Porto last year. He played in sort of latter stage of the Champions League. He's overly experienced for such a young player, but then it shows in his performances, because he does look very mature and very calm on the ball, doesn't he? But we've probably not seen the best Malang Sarr yet, which is a scary thought. Yeah,
I think that's right. A lot of people talk about him as this young, exciting player, but like you say, he's actually got quite a lot of experience, and that absolutely shows on the pitch. I can't get over how comfortable he looked today. He's playing against City, do you know what I mean? They're such an impressive team. And yeah, he just looked relaxed. Not as relaxed as Thiago Silva, but there's levels,
No, because he's absolutely as cool can be. However, what is interesting, you talk about the youth, centre-backs are always the last to be cooked. We know that. They are so slow to come, because, if you make one mistake, it shows up, and it always shows up. So along with goalkeepers, they're the ones that you think, when you're 26, 27, you'll just be about getting there. I mean, he's well ahead of the curve, really ahead of the curve there, and you have to take that into consideration. And very few of those centre-halves come through, and you think, from the age of 20, 19s and all this, they're going to be the main man. So when you're doing it early-ish, it's impressive, but much more impressive at centre-back.
So you're saying I'm still brewing? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
I've still got time. But what I really liked as well, Matt asked the question about, do you feel like you're part of the Chelsea family and part of the squad now as well? And the fact that he sort of retorted straight away, I said, yeah, absolutely, I feel very much a part of this squad. He's earned that right, because, again, at the start of the season we talk about it, but he could probably look at himself 5th, 6th on that list as a starter. Trevor Chalobah then gets an unfortunate injury. Obviously, Aspi then playing right wing back because of Reece, and Christensen being with COVID today, etc. He's all of a sudden taken his opportunity. And I suppose as a manager, if you've got players that are down in the pecking order, take their opportunity and all of a sudden leapfrog 3 or 4 and potentially are in the conversation to start when everyone's fully fit, you must be absolutely delighted with that.
Yeah, the weird thing is there's players that are no longer at the club that he was behind, miles behind, yet he's taken it up. But everybody knows that about any football team. A chance comes sometimes when you're ill-prepared, not ready for it, not expecting it, not thinking about it, but it doesn't matter. That's your chance. You better do it. And it's how you actually react to that. And there's no point in going moaning to people saying, oh, I could do with a bit more prep. Get the game head on and do it. It sounds the easiest thing in the world, but there's many that aren't quite there yet. Yet where you stick some people in and you say, look, believe, and they believe. And some people don't actually need to be told that they believe. So he's one of them. And just when you hear his interviews, you can tell a lot of the psychology of certain people just from their interviews. And his psychology is brilliant. And whether he's been working with a good sports psychologist himself, I kind of don't think so. I think he just seems that personality. And you need that. You absolutely need that at this level. See, if you've not got it, it really shows.
It's one of those things as well, isn't it, where when Chelsea do have a full complement back, to know that you now have 5 options at centre-half or 6 options at centre-half rather than looking at 3. I mean, it was only a week ago that we were having to play a back 4 because, like, Thomas Tuchel came out and said, I had 4 defenders, that was it. Yeah. So when we do get that full complement back and we're going into latter stage of the Champions League, FA Cup, we've got League Cup final, we've got obviously the Club World Cup as well, we'll be in such a strong position. I know we are waiting for those to return from injury, but yeah, it puts us in a very, very strong position when they are ready. Yeah,
100%. There's still so many games to play across so many different competitions, you know, because we're still lucky to be competing in so many. And in a COVID world, you literally don't know what's going to happen. Someone could test positive, they're out for a while. So the fact that you know the depth of the squad is getting even bigger than we initially realised at the start of the season is only a good thing.
When you do have games every couple of days, Pat, and you can't afford to dwell on defeats that quickly, how did you find it as a player to put it behind you quickly?
Best thing in the world. Absolutely best thing in the world. Another game. I want to play tomorrow. It's just move, get on, get the next one on. So that is, it's a real, it actually gives you a little high because, I mean, you think about it, it feels like the end just now. You feel terrible, you feel really, really down. You have no option. Tomorrow that has to be gone because you are now in prep mode, and there's lots and lots of games with lots and lots of competitions. You know you will not go through any season without losing the odd game, so you get it. You're okay. If you personally have a stinker or the team has a stinker, that's different. That's not really happening with Chelsea. Just this is a long run until today, isn't it? Since we've actually been beaten. So I think the positivity is all there. I don't know if we've actually had a message in yet, tweet or whatever, about the other thing, which this is January. There's something else that tends to happen in January. You get players, or you see what's available and see who's good enough to come in. And if we have got an area where we might need a little bit of backup for a wee while, and I think a lot of people are looking at that left wing back area and thinking maybe we could put something in there for the short term, you know, while Ben gets back. That might be something that we'd look at. That would actually just change everything, I think. We would look really comfortable all the way through the side. So that's the other thing we need to take in. We've got 2 weeks left. Something might happen, that sort of area.
Well, like we said earlier, you know, we've seen players make the best of their opportunity when they're given it in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, the younger players that have come through the academy. Obviously, Kennedy returned to the club this week from a loan spell in Brazil. So like Pat said, you know, those options that may arise, they may already be here, just not quite at the forefront just yet. But, you know, we've got a run of games, and you look at Plymouth in the FA Cup, you look at the Club World Cup. It's potentially an opportunity there where you look at sort of integrating players a little bit more. Do you think maybe that's in his thought process?
Oh, 100%. I think because when he has brought up the younger players to play more recently, people like Harvey Vale and Lewis Hall, they've been brilliant. So why not, you know, reward them with another appearance in a competition? And obviously Kennedy's got really great. He's back as well. We're just so lucky, aren't we? There's players everywhere and of superb quality.
That's the thing though, Pat, isn't it? Because the one thing that we love about Thomas Tuchel is that he does care very much about the players. He looks after players, he protects them, whether that be minutes coming back or whether that even be, you know, we've used it a couple of times as an example, but Ben Chilwell at the start of the season was suffering from sort of mental fatigue. Thomas Tuchel said when he came out, took him out the firing line for a little while, and then when Ben came back, he was the best player in the league, like for a period of time before the injury. So he knows how to integrate players and he knows how to get the best of them and protect them as well. That's needed with younger players.
It's one of those things. You look at players, you think, well, it's not kind of going to work for them, and then suddenly he gets the best out of them. The best managers can do that. It's surprising the belief they get. So you just never know. Kennedy, at last, after all this time, might do what he wants.
Absolutely right. Time to hear from the manager then. Thomas Tuchel has been speaking to Matt Davies-Adams.
Thomas, a tough one to take today. Give us your assessment of our performance.
Not so tough to take because I think it's a result that can happen. given the performance and the game. We can also win this game 1-0. We can draw it. So yeah, it's not so tough to take. We hate to lose, of course. This is a given, and we don't like the result, not at all. But like, put it into perspective from where we come from and how we struggle from injuries and COVID is a good defensive performance. And yeah, from individual performance, we lost. Okay.
Yeah, we were just talking to Malang about that. Good, strong defensive performance, but when you're playing against world-class players, one of them can always produce a moment.
Yes, and this is exactly what we demand from our players, and we struggle with this in the moment. So we have things to improve.
Do you think, attacking-wise, we were better in the second half, particularly just before the goal? Didn't create much in the first, but threatened them after the restart.
Yes, I think Kova played a major part in it, and Engie, like in all our attacks, and then you tell the story. This is our double six on the field, and they are like they take care about the work rate, they take care about the ball recoveries, and then they take even care that we have chances. And the performance in the opponent's half was not good enough in the first half. We lost too many balls, too many easy ball losses, lack of precision, lack of timing in counterattacks. We need to step up there. We need to show more quality on this kind of level. We cannot always depend on that Jorge will score a penalty or something like this. It's simply like this. There are enough chances. I mean, we won games like, I don't know if we had more chances when we won against them in Wembley or we created more, but we converted them, we scored the first goal and then it changed the whole game.
I know you don't like to blame fatigue, but it seems like we've played a lot more games over this festive period than everybody else.
And we did. It's just a fact, we did. We played 3 days ago away game at Tottenham. I think they had no game, so same thing now. Brighton plays yesterday and we played them on Tuesday again away. Okay, it's like this.
Finally, we know the gap is large at the moment between City and ourselves, but you must feel confident that you've seen enough in the time that you've been at the club, nearly a year now, that we can close that gap.
We can close it. We just need our squad, and it's not that I want to be absolutely clear about it. It's not that with this squad we cannot win, but you know, it doesn't matter who plays in the end, but you need to deserve it more. And when your whole squad is there, if you fight against 20 players for your space, it's different. In the moment, it's a little bit like, hey, I'm there, I have a negative test, so let's go. Oh, you play. And giving the mentality and the attitude that they have, we still can rely on them to produce on any level and to always be up for a fight. So big credit for the players. And still, these extra 5%, the extra percent that you need to be on the very, very top level, you need your whole squad, because then it's a real race, and then you challenge, and then it's and that squeezes the extra out of it. Because I mean, you would be stupid to pay 20 players if like 14 is enough, and yeah, and. It's like this, so no hard feelings today for the performance, and of course absolutely zero doubt about our mentality, attitude, commitment. It's all good. Today it was about little things. Today it was about individual quality up front.
Hard luck today. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
It's fantastic, isn't he? He's always so honest, very animated there as well, and he talks about it. And look, Thomas Tuchel didn't say it, but I as a Chelsea fan feel that we fulfilled every fixture, and it's very difficult to do that because, like you said, you know, you've got an away game at Spurs, difficult, high intensity. 3 days later, you're at the Champions away, 12:30 on a Saturday. Then you play Brighton away on the Tuesday, and there are other teams that, I mean, I think there was a stat going around in the time that Chelsea played 12 games, Burnley had played 4. But both teams have got a 25-man squad.
But the other side of it is, look, success brings these sometimes as well. Look, yeah, we've dealt with COVID quite well, but the other thing is, we're in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. We're now in the final of the Carabao Cup. You don't want to wish that away, so you have to deal with it. There are positives and negatives of it, and you just have to take it in the chin and roll with it. After the game, we're not down. We've not been in a down. We don't like getting beat, but we're saying, actually, that's okay. But of course, you might look in and go, yeah, you're working for Chelsea. Well, so is Thomas Tuchel. Does that man look like he's down? No, he's not. He gets it. Look, that's a decent performance. It got better. We've got so many things looking forward to, and he can actually see people getting back to full fitness and he can just about touch his squad. See, when he has that full squad together, I think he believes he can take on Manchester City. See if you can take on Manchester City, you can take on anyone.
Well, the evidence will show that as well, because when we had a fully fit squad, we were top of the Premier League
Exactly.
before we got hit by big injuries. So, obviously, a busy week continues at Chelsea here. Tuesday evening, make sure you join us for Matchday Live. We're away at Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League. 6:55 will be underway on that one. Friday afternoon, Thomas Tuchel will be speaking to the press ahead of a London derby next Sunday, 3:25. Chelsea take on Tottenham, this time in the Premier League. Familiar faces, we've seen them twice already in the last 10 days, so yeah, it'd be good to reacquaint ourselves. Pat, Abby, brilliant as always, thank you very much. Unfortunately, it wasn't a result that we wanted, but a good performance in general, and of course, we're all blue, aren't we? We go again on Tuesday. Thank you for watching.